once I sold the ITAM dream. No, okay. Once I discussed it all and kind of, I'd spoken to everyone I needed to speak to.
Yeah.
We talked about what we'd like. The next step was to design the roadmap. So I sat down with all the information I had drafted a policy, an ITAM policy, drawn up the process scope, the RACI matrices, the architecture checklists, things like that, and designed the roadmap for the next year. Now, it's not a long time, a year, but I'd done it in a way where we could tackle the quick wins first, stop the processes that were
Pixels on a
caused the
screen.
most issues, yeah. And following on from that, then the procedures would follow. We'd document things and discuss internally, get feedback, perfect it, kind of finalize things, and that was the next step for us. So after the roadmap was in place, we could then tweak it as we go. If we didn't think we were going to make things in H1, we'd move it over to H2 and say, right, that's an end of the year kind of goal. And we're still changing it. So it's forever progressing. Probably agile is the best word, I guess. I don't like throwing buzzwords out there, but it is it is very agile. But yeah, that was probably the next step. Roadmap, policy, processes, procedures, kind of documentation of things.
So do you do that one? Obviously, you've spoken to all of the key stakeholders. You've kind of understood the lay of the land. You obviously have your ITAM knowledge and your experience and what you feel is working, what isn't working, what needs to change, and what can be changed in like a short amount of time. It's interesting you mentioned there that your roadmap is agile, because there have been organizations that I've gone into in the past where a roadmap is kind of set in stone, right? You spend a lot of time developing it, you build it, you get it signed off by all of the stakeholders involved, by your leadership team, then that's it.
Yeah.
It's like, this is your Bible for the next 12 months. You will follow this. And if stuff gets moved, that's, what do you mean you can't do it in Q1? You said you could deliver this in Q1. I don't care there's external. You said you could do it in Q1. So that agile buzzword, because you love buzzwords, digital transformation, agility. That's really good to hear. And I guess that's kind of your ideal scenario, though, isn't it? Having an agile ITAM roadmap that, bearing in mind, you've probably still only been there, like a few months when you're building this roadmap. So you don't know everything inside out yet. So you don't know about potential blockers that you didn't know about originally. So I think that's a great bit of advice, is to, if you can, because some organizations don't have a flexible, agile roadmap. So how often are you changing that out of interest? Is that just like you get a new idea or something you want to fix and then throw it in?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It is really ad hoc. It would be when something's brought up by someone or myself, and we think, actually, you know what, that could be useful for us. Let's push that towards the front of the list, at the top of the list, and we'll get that done as soon as we can, rather than it's next in queue for year 2023. But it is very agile. We change it when we need, as we need. At the end of the day, the goals are for us, so the benefits will be for us as well. I don't see why it should be set in stone. ITAM's never set in stone. It's always changing.
I think I'll clip that and send that to a couple of previous organizations. Just with your face. I'll cut me out of it. Cut me. I just be like, look, just to prove it's not just me saying this. But dude, you mentioned the goals there, right?
Yeah.
And as a new ITAM manager professional going into an organization, when you achieve a goal that you've set in your roadmap, like, personally for me, I mean, dude, you know me, right? I will shout about ITAM till the cows come home. I'll big it up as much as I can. If I make a little win in a roadmap, people are getting emailed, people are flipping knowing about it. Like, even if it's like a tiny thing, like, we've just developed a new process, I'm like, right, boom, here we go. New process, wasn't here before. Great win for ITAM. Isn't ITAM amazing? Yeah. Do you kind of adopt that as well within Just Eat takeaways, not technologies takeaways? Or are you more of a kind of play it cool? Yeah, just got some processes, whatever.
Yeah, no, I'll be honest. When I started, I wasn't as loud as you, but
no one is.
But no disrespect, in a nice way. But recently I have used all the comms channels. So we use, like things like Slack and
nice
our intranet. So I have started going through the comms channels to publish articles to say, look, we've just changed this process. This is the new process. So for example, IT asset disposals. We've just implemented a contract for this, and it would explain to the users internally what the new process is, you know, who to contact, what they're allowed, the parameters, this, that, the other. Previously, I might not have done that because I wasn't aware of the different com channels and things like that. But now that I am starting to get a bit more, you know, talkative about it. But I guess that's like you said, that's one of the main things, is to talk about ITAM, like I said earlier, educate them as well. It's not everyone knows the purpose of ITAM, the practices, what's involved, and it's so varied and it's always changing. FinOps and all this new stuff that's coming into it. I won't talk about FinOps today, but you know, you mentioned FinOps to someone, then they won't understand what it is, and rightly so. I wouldn't have known 3-4 years ago. So you know, who's to say that it's not going to change again and we'll get new buzzwords